We call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. The meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. I'll now announce the closed session topics of discussion. They are recommended expulsions, recommended suspended expulsions, public employee assignment, reassignment, and appointment, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, and complaints, conference with labor negotiator, conference with real property negotiators, anticipated litigation with 2 cases. These 2 matters involve facts and circumstances that might result in litigation against the district, but which facts and circumstances are not yet known to the potential plaintiff or plaintiffs. And finally, public employee evaluation for superintendent. Let's see. Public comment on any closed session item will be heard at this time. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. Is there any public comment at this time? Seeing no. We anticipate that closed session will take approximately 1 hour. However, if additional time is required, the regular session may be called to order after 5:30 p.m. The board will now adjourn to closed session. We will now convene the regular session. Apologize for our late arrival here. We had a very full closed session, as you'll see in just a minute. Yolanda Moran will now serve as the Spanish interpreter for this meeting. Meeting attendees who would like to listen to the Spanish interpretation of proceedings, please pick up headphones from the table located in the back of the room. This announcement will now be shared in Spanish.
Alondra Morán servirá como intérprete al español para esta reunión. Invitamos a los asistentes de la reunión que deseen escuchar la interpretación al español, el ir por audífonos a la mesa ubicada al fondo de esta sala de reuniones. Gracias.
This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Members of the public who would like to provide public comment on items listed on tonight's agenda, we recommend you fill out the public comment form, the green form, located on the table in the northeast entrance to the room. Please hand the completed form to Executive Assistant Leisha Weatherford before the item comes up on the agenda. She's in the back of the meeting room with her hand raised. We recommend you complete a separate form for each agenda item on which you would like to comment. Members of the public providing public comment, please use the microphone on the stand located in the front of the room. Not right now, we'll let you know when. 3.4, Board Member Jackie Gaby will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Okay, now I'll read out the items or the actions taken in closed session. The board is excited to announce that Jessica Pareto has been appointed to the position of principal of Annie R. Mitchell Elementary School for the 26-27 school year. Ms. Pareto currently serves as the principal of Highland Elementary School. She began her career in education at Lemoore Union Elementary School District, where she taught elementary students for 7 years. She later joined Visalia Unified as an intervention teacher, serving in that role for 2 years. She then transitioned into administration, serving as an assistant principal for 3 years, and has served as a principal for a total of 10 years. Ms. Jessica Pareto earned a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from California State University, Fresno, and a master's degree in curriculum and instruction from CSU Bakersfield. She holds a multiple subject teaching credential and an administrative services credential. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to Ms. Jessica Pareto. The board is also excited to announce that Brittany Guerrero has been appointed to the position of principal of Highland Elementary School for the 2026-27 school year. Ms. Guerrero currently serves as the principal of Washington Elementary School. Prior to her appointment, Ms. Guerrero served as the assistant principal at Conyer Elementary School for 2 years. Before moving into administration, she taught elementary students with Visalia Unified for 5 years and previously taught at Exeter Unified for 6 years. Ms. Brittany Guerrero earned a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts and a master's degree in Educational Leadership and Administration from California State University, Fresno. She holds a multiple subject teaching credential and an administrative services credential. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to Ms. Brittany Guerrero. In closed session, on a motion by Board Member Villegas and a second by Board Member Gamoyan, the Board agreed by a vote unanimously by a vote of 6 yeses and no nos, with 1 absent, to appoint Dr. Jesus Gonzalez to the position of Principal of Mount Whitney High School for the 2026-2027 school year. Dr. Gonzalez currently serves as the principal of Farmersville High School, where he has served for the last 2 years. He began his career in education in Fresno Unified School District, where he taught bilingual primary and intermediate students for 6 years. Prior to his current position, Dr. Gonzalez worked for Visalia Unified for a total of 14 years, including 2 years as the principal of Ivanhoe Elementary School, 1 year as the principal of Ridgeview Middle School, and a total of 7 years as an assistant principal at Redwood High School and Divisadero Middle School. During his time with VUSD, he also taught history and AVID for 4 years. Before joining VUSD, Dr. Gonzalez worked at the Tulare County Office of Education, where he served as an area administrator for 1 year and as migrant resource coordinator for 3 years. Dr. Gonzalez earned a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies, a Master of Arts in Education Administration and Supervision, and a Doctorate of Education from California State University, Fresno. He holds a multiple subject teaching credential and an administrative services credential. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to Dr. Jesus Gonzalez. In closed session, on a motion by Board Member Belt and a second by Board Member Gamoyan, the Board agreed unanimously by a vote of 6 yes, no nays, and 1 absent to approve resolution of release and reassignment of certificated administrators as follows. Employee ID number 21328. I think that's it. During closed session, on a motion by Board Member Gaby and a second by Board Member DeYoung, the Board voted to order the dismissal of a classified employee, number 17925, in the position of Cafeteria Worker 2, by a vote of 6 yeses, no nos, and 1 absent. Finally, in closed session, on a motion by Board Member Gamoyan and a second by Board Member DeYoung, the Board agreed unanimously by a vote of 6 yeses and no nos, with 1 absent, to approve a settlement agreement with employee number 21438. Okay. Revisions to the enclosure items and adoption of the board meeting agenda tonight. There are revised item enclosures as follows: 4.1, 4.2, 6.14, 6.16, 6.31, 11.1, 11.3, 11.5, and 11.6. The following items have been removed from the consent agenda. 6.9, Memorandum of Understanding between VUSD and California School Employees Association. New class, do I need to read all of that out? Do I need to read all that out?
If it's clear from the item numbers, no, or you could abbreviate it.
Okay, got it. So 6.9 MOU between VUSD and CSEA, new classified position, sub-services technician. 6.10 MOU between VUSD and California School Employees Association, new classified position, student welfare and attendance technician, Spanish. 6.11 MOU between VUSD and California School Employees Association, new classified position, after-school program specialist, and 6.12 MOU between VUSD and CSEA layoff processes. So, sorry, went all the way there. Do I have a motion to adopt the board meeting agenda?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Belt.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Gaby. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member voting yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
All right, that leads us into a more entertaining portion of the agenda for sure. Student performance, Redwood High School Jazz Band. I introduce to you folks Executive Director of Student Services, Natalie Garza.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Schrum. We are really excited to welcome our Redwood High School Jazz Combo. So this is a small group of 5 students that go above and beyond by meeting outside of traditional class time to prepare for community concerts and competitive music festivals. Highlights from the year include earning a superior rating at the Fresno State Jazz Festival. Board members, we invite you to leave your seats and step in front so that you may have a better view.
Item 4.1, Spotlight on Good Things Happening in the District. Presenter is Superintendent Kirk Schrum.
Good evening, President Odo and board members and our community. Thank you for being here. And again, congratulations to our Redwood students. Always enjoy beginning our board meetings with our student entertainment. Great way to remind us why we're here. And as we get into the spotlight, I just want to begin real quick with just appreciation for especially our bus drivers here recently. We've had a lot of foggy days, which I think we've had more this past month or so than in my first 3 years combined. And so I know that's, creates a lot of challenges, not only for our drivers, but our families and staff and others. And so I just want to thank everyone for being safe and doing what they can to get to school safely. And hopefully our weather pattern will shift. But shout out to our bus drivers who work in those conditions and working to make sure our students get to school. So thank you for that. And again, we'll hope the weather shifts and we can move out of that. Starting with spotlight on some of our sites, our adult school mid-year graduation happened last month. We had 25 students graduate with their equivalency, 48 high school diplomas were distributed, and 257 students were celebrated for completing a short-term career CTE program for the fall semester. We're proud of our adult school offering a wide range of programs for our community and these individuals for their accomplishments. Obviously, this is Kindness and Love Week for some reason. Several elementaries are celebrating Kindness Week, and all 4 comprehensive high schools are celebrating Love Week this week. To the left, you see Riverway students celebrated by writing positive notes to one another, as well as photos from the high schools focused on spreading kindness, compassion, and unity across our campuses. It's always great to see our schools keeping students engaged during the semester. Our Future Farmers of America to the left, 3 Golden West students showed some hard work pays at the Great Westerner Livestock Show. Congratulations to Brenda for winning 5th overall market heifer, Carly for winning 2nd place AOC market, and Kaylee for 5th place in the black beef market. To the right, over the weekend, El Diamante FFA team attended the Citrus Judging B. Team won third high team in the entire state of California. We have incredible FFA teams across our district and always love to see what they're doing. Congratulations to these students, their teams, and their teachers. A few weeks back, El Diamante made an impressive climb from 8th place to 3rd overall in our mock trial, advancing to the semifinals, which took place this weekend. Ultimately, congratulations to Redwood, who won the 2026 Tulare County Mock Trial Championship. Redwood will represent Tulare County at the state finals in March, and we look forward to getting an update then. Also proud of Redwood High School's Wen Hu and Isabella Wu for winning the Courtroom Artist competition, and Diane De Ramos and Lily Ruiz of El Diamante for winning Courtroom Journalist competition, each advancing to the state finals. Future Business Leaders of America, sectional title, for the 41st time in school history and 13th year in a row, Redwood FBLA brought home the Doris Lowe Sweepstakes title at the FBLA Central Section Leadership Conference. 28 schools from the Central Valley traveled to Redwood to participate in this event. 119 Rangers participated, and they appeared 95 times in the top 10, had 20 students who placed in the top 10 twice, and more than 80 of them will be attending the state this April. Congratulations to Redwood. Continuing here, our Distributive Education Clubs of America, also known as DECA. Continuing this year, NorCal DECA had over 1,200 students competing and 35 students representing Golden West High School Business and Finance Academy. Several students won in the top 10 for a variety of categories, including marketing, entrepreneurship, management. Congratulations to all these students, especially Ashley Zabaleta, Destiny Romero for winning 3rd place in role play and entrepreneurship, and Gracie Luis for winning 1st place in role play, hotel and lodging management. Continuing some of our students shining here, El Diamante High School and the County Academic Decathlon, Team 6 in Visalia, they took 2nd place with nearly 33,000 points. The students on the screen received top scores in economics, interview, speech, and including a $300 scholarship for Braylon Requeo. Several other students took silver in similar categories. Congratulations to these students on their incredible accomplishments. Spotlight on our visual performing arts, always an exciting time of year when our schools come together and put on their spring plays, musicals. A few have taken place since we met last, including Willy Wonka Jr. at Oak Grove Elementary School, supported by the PTA. Something Rotten at Green Acres Middle School. Mount Whitney performed Beetlejuice, and Redwood performed Anastasia this past weekend. Great job to these talented students on their incredible performances. Our students are not the only ones shining bright on stage, but also on the field. El Diamante earned the CIF Central Section Division III Traditional Competitive Cheer Championship. Redwood Boys Wrestling won the EYL Championship for the 4th year in a row. Golden West Girls Wrestling won the EYL Championship with 13 of 13 girls advancing to the finals. 8 finished 1st place. That's amazing. And Golden West Boys earned the EYL Championship and their 8th straight league championship. Being a student athlete is not easy. It takes grit, determination, organization, and focus to maintain good standing and GPA and excel on the field. Congratulations to these teams for their incredible season. It also takes great adults and great support around our students, and so we're pleased to share a spotlight on staff success. Coach Allen, and I believe he is here this evening. If he's here, yes. Coach Allen, and you may have seen this recently locally in our paper, wins Visalia Times Delta Coach of the Year for the 25-26 school year. This award is given to Tulare County's most outstanding high school football coach, and Coach Allen, of course, is here tonight. A couple of highlights from the season. Coach Allen and his team orchestrated an offense that set a new school record for the most points scored in a single season with 470, an average of 39.1 points per game. However, even greater are the life skills he works in incorporating into his coaching to help his student athletes focus on community service like planning, mental health, and financial literacy. Congratulations, Coach Allen. Thank you for the work you did with our group of students. Let's give him another round of applause. On to the next season. Yes. Continuing success of our staff, we're so proud. We have multiple honorees from our Association of California School Administrators region. Our staff listed on the screen are exceptional and have made incredible contributions to the systems and programs that help students become future ready. We see Drew, Letty, and Yolanda will be moving on to represent our region at the ASCA conference later this year. Congratulations to all four of these individuals for winning different administrator, career tech type leaders of the year. So congratulations, and I know all of them are here tonight in the audience as well. Moving on to our PTA luncheon, which was just held last week. Our district PTA hosted its annual luncheon for site presidents and principals. One of our strategic plan goals is to ensure every school has an active parent association, and we're making progress, including the addition of 3 new site-based PTA chapters in recent months. This event celebrates partnership, collaboration, and the vital role families play in schools. We're grateful to our district PTA and the parent leaders for their continued commitment to our schools and school communities. Also, and board, this is one when we expanded this programming recently at a meeting, I was asked, how can we continue to share updates on this? And so I'm pleased tonight to talk about some of the impact of our winter math intersession. As we shared, Mount Whitney High School launched an integrated Math 1 winter intersession combining excellent teacher instruction with our paper grow tutoring to support students entering the second semester. Now, while we started with a small group, 12 students participated, every student showed growth and all passed Math 1, which means they're on the road to recovery and not going to have to retake a course. This is essential because it keeps students on the A through G pathway required for UC, CSU, and private university eligibility. Also, in a couple of other notes, our GROW program is now in its second year at Four Creeks Elementary, where we continue, and of course they led a lot of our district last year in math. We're continuing to see that growth from beginning of the year to the middle of the year. 5th grade students showed accelerated progress toward grade level, with 5th grade doubling the number of students at or near grade level from 14 to 28%. And grade 6, reducing the number of students 2 or more grade levels below by nearly half, from 52% to 28%. So we're continuing to accelerate learning, closing opportunity gaps, and shifting students into stronger academic pathways. And we'll continue to provide updates on the return on our investment in this impactful program as we go through the year. Also spotlighting on the district, our after-school expansion and programming. I'd like to take a few minutes tonight to spotlight something that's become one of the most engaging parts of a child's day in VUSD, our after-school program. Just a few years ago, after school looked really different. Programs were smaller, seats were limited, and options were often one size fits all. Families appreciated what was available, but the need was much greater. Then the state stepped in with extended learning opportunity programming and funding to districts all across the state of California, opening the door to expanded learning that supports academics, belonging, enrichment, and what followed just wasn't growth. It was a deeper commitment to meeting students' needs. Today, after school meets students where they are. A student may go to tutoring, join a STEM club, find confidence through art, recreation, athletics, or enrichment. And we hear from families that after school is where their child feels successful. And for many working families, it's what makes stability and school success possible. Because of this, our participation has grown from 2,484 students just 2 years ago to more than 5,100 this year. Our investment has gone from $5 million to $30 million. That growth reflects trust from our families and engagement. And so our programming really now has grown from an after-school model to now a true extension of the school day. To reflect this vision and align with our strategic plan, our shift to an extended day model will provide a seamless connection to the school day, so academic and behavioral supports align and students are fully supported from morning through dismissal and beyond to continue academic enrichment, support, attendance recovery, along with all of the activities our students and families select. This also creates more opportunities for our staff, bringing oversight into district roles, improving communication with families and schools, and with many of these positions possibly being filled by individuals our communities already know. I'm truly excited about the future of now our extended day programming. Looking forward to that continuing. Speaking of the programming that supports our students before and after school, we have the Ascend morning program. This year, VUSD partnered with Ascend, a before-school program that helps students start the day reducing stress, to be focused and ready to learn. I'm going to need to check, see if they're open to adults joining that. Through Ascend, students also build strong relationships and sense of belonging, ensuring students are seen, welcomed, and supported. These things have led to a more positive student climate, improved attendance, and reduced disruptions during the school day. And also continuing with some of our work, at Mount Whitney, the administration asked the students, what are you interested in? What would you like to see? And an overwhelming response was boxing. And so we're excited to have partnered with Kano Boxing this year, a high-interest after-school program, again through ELOP, where our students have a positive structured outlet for physical activity, discipline, and self-expression. Beyond fitness, this boxing builds life skills that support student success during the day and give students an opportunity for strong mentoring relationships. They're averaging over 25 students every day. Every day. Together, these programs reflect our commitment to supporting students beyond the instructional day. And then finally, spotlight on social media. We share out some of the district ongoings, including Foggy Days. We probably couldn't put all of them on the screen because we've had a lot of them there. And then also Martin Luther King Day as we celebrate and recognize Black History Month this month of February. And outreach such as our long-range facilities master plan, multilingual events, High Five Fridays, and ongoing recruitment for our sites and our schools as well. And you continue to see our spotlight on social media in addition to programs and other activities that many of our school sites held to support and to honor and recognize Black History Month, and then also our amazing employees, including National School Counseling Week. So I believe, having said that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Schrum.
Thank you.
Moves us to item 4.2, Strategic Plan Theme 1 Update. Our presenter is Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, Breanne Phillips.
Well, good evening, Board President Odo, Board Superintendent Schrum, and community. Tonight, I will be updating you on our strategic plan, specifically Theme 1. Oh, I'm like jumping ahead and we don't have our presentation up. We're good. Okay. So tonight you'll see that all three of our core beliefs come to life in the work of Theme 1, and our commitments are held in the core design and development of our actions. As we know, this is the blueprint for our future. Board, you set for us our mission and vision, and to bring that to life through our core beliefs and commitments, we've designed our strategic plan. And how we are held accountable and being transparent to our community is through our progress indicator metrics as well as our priority student outcomes. This is an overview of our strategic plan. As you can see, it thoroughly addresses the needs of our students and community to move us forward to 2030. Tonight, we will be focusing on Theme 1, High Expectations and High Achievement. Theme 1 takes a comprehensive approach to enhancing existing and designing new systems to ensure students in Visalia are challenged and prepared for the future. The focus area we'll be updating tonight is academic achievement and preparedness. Zooming in further, the initiative, I moved too fast, I'm sorry. Zooming in further, the initiative is increased access to opportunities for advanced content, coursework, and experience. We are going to specifically talk about 2 actions tonight, and uniquely we're going to talk about these 2 actions together because a lot of our work has been done in tandem. So tonight we'll be looking at designing and implementing an advanced placement plan, as well as designing and implementing an elementary and middle school advanced learning plan. So before we jump into our research design actions, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about why advanced learning is important. If we look around our room, our administrators, our teachers, our parents here tonight, many of them have graduated from a VUSD high school. Our students return to our community and become our doctors, our teachers, our lawyers, and our business owners. Advanced learning is important because an investment in our students is an investment in our future. Visalia education is a promise that every diploma serves as a key that opens doors for our graduates. This work is an investment in the future of Visalia. This aligns with our vision to empower every student to leave with a diploma and a clear, actionable career trajectory. So now jumping into the indicators for our strategic plan. So to inform and develop our advanced learning framework, we interviewed students, teachers, administrators across elementary, middle, and high schools. This research also included a thorough evaluation of our master schedule, as well as analysis of student persistence. What the findings found were 2 key insights. We need to empower our families and students to make informed, confident choices that unlock advanced learning opportunities, as well as the importance of aligning high-quality supports and program expectations across every campus to ensure district-wide excellence. So as we look, I'm jumping too fast. So as we look into where we're heading in 2030, we will be designing a K-12 framework. And to develop this K-12 framework, we began with the end in mind. So by 2030, VUSD will be a leader in advanced learning where every student navigates a clear, transparent roadmap to success with well-communicated entry points that allow students and families to access advanced learning opportunities at any stage of their learning journey. Additionally, diverse learners will thrive in rigorous college-level coursework supported by aligned instruction, intentional supports, and multiple pathways that expand access while maintaining high expectations. Our graduates will leave with more than a diploma. They will exit with college credit, career-aligned skills, and clarity about their post-secondary pathway, building on the strong advanced learning and career opportunities that are already available across our district. So that might bring the question, what does this look like in elementary, middle, and high school? So I want to take you through our elementary, middle, and high school and where we're at. So at our elementary level, our focus is on exposure. To expose means intentionally providing students with multiple and varied opportunities to gauge and advance learning experiences that extend thinking, spark curiosity, and introduce them to areas of study and skills that they may not otherwise encounter during the regular instructional day. Through our expanded learning opportunities program and purposeful extension within the instructional day, currently, our students have an average of 37 advanced learning opportunities within their school site. These opportunities include experiences such as leadership, Lego robotics, poetry and prose, and many others. As our advanced learning has expanded, we have created school-specific elementary web pages to transparently highlight each site's unique opportunities and strengthen family engagement in how advanced learning is accessed and offered. Looking ahead, we will continue to explore ways to accelerate learning within the instructional day. And while this is already occurring in pockets across VUSD, we are intentionally systematizing these practices to ensure equitable access for all students. As we move into our middle years, our focus is on exploration. So exploring means to provide our students with structured opportunities to try advanced coursework. Also academic pathways and career-connected learning, while beginning to make their informed choices about interests, strengths, and future goals. Exploring is brought to life in our CTE middle school course, where students engage in hands-on learning that sparks their career interest. We plan to expand the breadth of this program and its impact. Additionally, our students explore in advanced pathways through Math 1 and Spanish 1, where they earn high school credits. We also have honors as well as AVID and after-school enrichment. Our next step is to create placement guidelines for students. Sites will have clear steps on the placement of students in courses based on their strengths and interests. Additionally, our DLI community has spoken, and we are listening. Their desire to continue their language journey through their middle years will be conceptualized through a middle school pathway. Through students exploring in middle school, they will enter high school empowered to pursue rigorous academic pathways and career-focused programs aligned to their interests and passions. And now on to high school. At the high school level, our focus is specialization. When we're talking about specializing, this means our students are intentionally deepening their learning in identified areas of interest, strength, and future aspirations, academically, creatively, and career-focused. Every high school student in the district currently has access to a wide range of advanced learning and career readiness opportunities, including advanced placement and dual enrollment courses where they are earning college credit. These opportunities are strengthened throughout our strategic college partnerships and specialized CTE academies and pathways, many of which lead to industry-recognized certifications. Students are further supported through programs such as AVID and Visual Performing Arts, ensuring graduates leave our system well-rounded individuals, academically prepared, career-ready, and equipped for future success. Board, I shared with you at the beginning of this presentation, we heard clearly from our parents, community, and staff the need to build a more cohesive K-12 framework, one that intentionally strengthens specialization at the high school level. This work is critical to ensuring our students graduate college and career ready with clear, meaningful pathways that prepare them to succeed beyond high school. Here is what that looks like in practice. As we design and implement this framework, we are being intentional about exploring and leveraging programs that directly support this action. That is why we are pursuing the International Baccalaureate Program as a strategic way to strengthen high school specialization, align to our K-12 vision and expand rigorous, globally recognized opportunities for our students. So, wondering how did we come to land on IB? And it is the data that led us here. In IB, IB graduates are 21.4% more likely to be admitted into prestigious universities such as Harvard, Yale, and Stanford. And 82% of diploma recipients enrolled directly into university, which outperforms the national norm of 66%. Additionally, students may earn up to 30 university credits. By integrating IB into our advanced learning pathway, we are building on what already exists and opening more doors for students. The VUSD International Baccalaureate Pathways will be developed as a magnet program at Mount Whitney High School, designed to expand access to rigorous, globally recognized learning while attracting students through clearly defined, high-interest pathways. As we engage in this multi-year process to become an accredited IB school, we are intentionally building our 3 IB pathways, informed by student interest, family voice, and community partnership. Our first pathway will be our STEM diploma. This will build upon our strong foundation at Mount Whitney with the Health Academy as well as the Computer Science Academy. Through partnering with our community, local businesses, and Kauai Hospital, we will prepare our next generation of doctors and nurses, engineers, computer scientists, and innovators through their rigorous coursework in science, mathematics, and technology. The dual language IB diploma builds on our dual language immersion foundation and reflects the interest of continued language development towards biliteracy, as well as students' global competence all the way through graduation. And our IB-aligned CTE certification pathway builds on rigorous academic learning by deepening IB inquiry and real-world application, enabling students to earn industry-recognized certifications while strengthening transferable skills for post-secondary success and workforce success. This work brings our mission, every student learning every day, to life by pairing high expectations and clear, accessible pathways so every student can engage in rigorous learning and graduate prepared for college and career.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item? Board member comment? Ms. Gamoyen.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. I love that. And I was trying to figure out what DLI is, but I figured it out. But just in case someone was like me, that means our dual language immersion
Yes.
goes all the way through high school and ending with an exceptional diploma. So that I love that. I love the STEM, being a biology teacher. And you know what? I love that we're starting to really pay more attention to our kids that want rigor and want high academics. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Any other comment? Mr. Belt.
One thing, and Dr. Odo, thank you so much. We now have a pathway. It's been something we've been talking about for a bit, but had no idea how to get there. Thank you so much for putting it into a presentation that makes some sense, but also has real teeth to it so that we can see it has continuity. It's not just a dream that we'll have an international baccalaureate. This is how we get there. And I think the whole public can actually get a good feel for it, as Board Member Gamoyen said. This is exciting to see us raise the expectations. That's what we've been trying to do in all of our classrooms, but this now would even be focused even higher. Thank you.
Okay, any further comment? Okay, thank you, Ms. Phillips. Moving on, Section 5, General Public Comment. General public comment on any topic not on the agenda may be heard at this time. If you have public comment on an item listed on tonight's agenda, there'll be an opportunity for you to share your comments at the time the item comes up for discussion by the board. Pursuant to board policy, the board will limit individual comments for general public comment to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. To comply with the Brown Act, California's open public meeting law, board discussion is limited to items on the agenda. Therefore, when receiving public comment for items not on the agenda, the board's role is limited to receiving such comments, and the board may not engage in dialogue with the public. The board thanks the public for its participation in public comment and understanding of the board's responsibilities. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. I do have 3 requests to speak here in front of me. First off, Christina Pimentel.
Good evening. My name is Christina Pimentel Esparza. Good evening, board members, administrators, colleagues, and community members. We are members of the Technology Services, and we are here to speak collectively about the staffing decisions that have directly impacted teachers, staff who rely on technology every day to educate our students and keep our schools running. Over the past 3 years, our IT department has lost 3 site technicians. At our highest staffing level, there were 16 technicians supporting schools and district sites. Today, we're operating with only 13. While administration has stated that there's only 1 vacant position and 2 additional positions must be eliminated, publicly available board reports indicate that there's only 1 technician position that has been formally eliminated. Based on those records, there should still be 2 vacant positions. What this means in practice is not simply fewer employees, it means fewer technicians available to respond when teachers lose access to instructional technology, when testing systems fail, when classroom devices stop working, or when staff is unable to perform their daily responsibilities. When a technician position is cut or left unfilled, the workload does not just disappear. It's just redistributed among the fewer people, resulting in longer response times and reduced on-site support. For teachers, this means instructional time, delay in lessons, disrupted assessments, and increased frustration when the technology failures cannot be resolved quickly. For classified administrative staff, this means delay in your communications, reporting, essential operational tasks. Technology is just not supplemental. It is now foundational to our curriculum delivery, student testing, attendance, special education services, communications with our families. As these demands continue to grow, reducing on-site technician directly undermines the district's ability to meet them. We are also concerned that site technician positions are being reduced. The district has continued hiring help desk positions that appear to perform substantial similar duties at lower pay rates. This suggests that the work itself remains necessary and ongoing. From the perspective of teachers and staff, the need for support has not decreased. Only access to timely experience and on-site assistant has. Additionally, there has been no finalized MOU with the union authorizing the elimination of the information technology technician position. Proceeding with staffing reduction without completed agreement raises concerns about transparency, whether decisions are being made in a way that fully considers the impact of our school sites, our employees, and our students.
Okay.
We completely continue to work with our students to review, our union to review issues and ensure proper procedures are followed. We respectfully ask the board to closely examine staffing data, vacancy records, workload distribution, and hiring practice within the IT department.
And I'll ask you to close right
Sorry.
there. Thank you. Next up, Brittany Bates.
Hi there, my name is Brittany Bates. I'm a parent to a physically disabled daughter in the general education setting here with VOSD. My name may ring a bell to a few of you here, as I was the parent this last spring that requested the playground substrate to be accommodated for wheelchairs and walkers. I wanted to finally put a face to my name in a positive manner. As my child's advocate, it is my job to not just dwell on the negatives, but also highlight the positives. Moving forward with remodeling the K-6 playground at Pinka is such a huge thing for our community, and I'm not sure everyone truly realizes how big of a deal it is. The first school in our district to be completely accessible to students of all kinds, these are the small steps that we take as a community to promote inclusion. The district has some really superb employees that have impacted my family, and I wanted to take the time to highlight them. Rika Curtis. Rika has mentored me since my daughter was 2 months old while working for the county, and is seriously a blessing that has impacted my life tremendously. Such a sweet person with impactful knowledge and guidance that has changed my life completely in a way I view disability. Tina Shirley, an individual who spent countless conversations speaking to me when I was in tears and distraught over the playground situation. She was the buffer between a parent and the district, and unfortunately took a lot of my blows. Natalie Garza, an individual that went above and beyond for me in the first week of her new position. I can't imagine her situation, having to deal with such a huge and confusing issue during her first week, but she went above and beyond for me. She truly got all the answers to my questions and concerns when literally no one else in the district was able to do that at that time. Amanda Willis, another kind and understanding person. I am neurodivergent, and IEPs can be a lot of oral information my brain is consuming and processing, and Amanda took the time out of her own time to explain to me things in emails and phone calls in a way I was able to understand. Amy Soyland, my child's one-on-one, such a perfect fit for my daughter. Honestly, she goes above and beyond for my daughter and has amazing communication and advocates for my daughter when I can't. And finally, Mr. Taylor. Man, what a principal. He leads his team with such grace, and his campus is a perfect example of what inclusion could look like. I've observed handfuls of instances where I've observed such great positive actions of the staff to help promote the culture of inclusion on that campus. Mr. Taylor and his support team are also amazing, and my family are proud Eagles. As a member of the district IEEP leadership team, I hope to continue sharing my family's lived experiences of what inclusion looks like and doesn't look like with the district, so we as a team can be the change that we want to see. I know we are making a difference for our community by making inclusion part of our culture and promoting that mindset shift within the district and the community. Thank you.
Patrick Hemphill.
Good evening, Board. Superintendent Schrum. My name is Patrick Hemphill. I'm the VUTA president. I've now spoken to you before you multiple times about the impending end of COVID one-time monies and the implications for our schools. I would be remiss, as you have now reviewed the sort of finalization of this process, if I did not reiterate the important points I made during my last two visits. Expectations for our school site staff continue to climb. Their workload continues to increase with the demands placed upon them, perhaps unsustainably. In a time like this where many are already stretched to their limits, the additional staff hired after COVID have in many places been the ones standing in the spaces where teachers and admin no longer have the time to tread. Learning loss continues to be an issue. Outlier behaviors have not evaporated, and we still continue to face many of the same challenges we've encountered over the last few years. If these supports are diminished, the answer absolutely cannot be to add more to our teachers' plates. There is no space or time left. Many are past their limits. There must be critical examination of our existing support systems, and efficiencies must be boosted to compensate. There will have to be new norms and expectations established, for if all the resulting burden falls on the shoulders of our classroom teachers, we will have done our students a huge disservice. Our district has lofty goals that can be achieved by the amazing site and support staffs that have been assembled. But if we are to do more with less, we cannot settle for the status quo of the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward. Item 6, consent agenda. Would any board member like to pull an item from the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to pull item 6.26.
6.26, okay. Any others? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda accepting item 6.26?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, by Mr. Gaby, second by?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Belt. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member voting yes, 6, 1 absent.
Okay, so returning to item 6.26, Mr. Villegas.
Thank you, President Odo. I just wanted to take a moment to highlight this item as another expansion of opportunities for our students. Really excited about the expansion of IB and the opportunities our students will have. But looking at this partnership with the Kern Community College District, I'm excited about the opportunities for the expansion of dual enrollment possibilities. I think the Kern Community College District has led the way in establishing a dual enrollment program where, students enter their freshman year and then graduate high school with both their associate's degree and their high school diploma. So just really excited about this opportunity. Wanted to take this time to also thank staff and everyone involved in these efforts, and looking forward to hopefully bringing that kind of program here to VUSD as we continue to expand opportunities for our students. So just wanted to highlight it.
Got it. So may I have a motion to approve item 6.26?
I'll motion.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Villegas, second by?
I'll second.
Ms. Gaby. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member voting yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay. Which brings us to reports. Item 7, student representative report, Ms. Sophia Diaz, Redwood High School.
Good evening, board members. My name is Sophia Diaz. I'm the current ASB president at Redwood High School. At our most recent USAV meeting, team members from Teaching and Learning facilitated the session and led student engagement activities centered on 3 key institutional focus areas: district benchmarks, classroom environment, and the block bell schedule. The structure of the meeting was intentionally designed to maximize student voice and interaction. Each of the 3 presenters spent approximately 12 minutes with rotating groups of students. Each rotation, students participated in various hands-on activities, which included feedback activities, dotting exercises, and sticky note responses. These strategies allowed students to share both areas of excitement and areas of concern related to each topic in a meaningful and accessible way. Throughout these rotations, students provided thoughtful feedback on how instructional systems impact their daily learning experiences. The format encouraged honest dialogue and allowed students to engage directly with district leaders responsible for these initiatives. Following the meeting, all three teaching and learning presenters shared positive feedback with Mr. Edmondson regarding their experience. They had noted high levels of student engagement, the quality of feedback collected, and the value of hearing student perspectives firsthand. Several student insights gathered during the session will directly inform the presenters' action items connected to the VUSD strategic plan, participating in areas of instructional practices and learning environments. This USAV meeting served as a strong example of how structured student voice opportunities can support district decision making and strengthening collaboration between student and instructional leadership. Thank you for your time and continued support of the student voice and opportunities in VUSD. And now we will move on to our site reports. At LD High School, their In Motion dance team earned second place at the USA NorCal Regionals, reflecting strong preparation and teamwork, as well as their mock trial as they advanced from 8th to 3rd overall, reaching the semifinals with judges noting the students' command of demanding case packet. Next, at Golden West High School, their ASB students supported their winter athletics and their senior nights. They helped create a positive and energetic game night atmosphere. Their ASB also and Link Crews led a successful 8th grade visit day, welcoming incoming students and creating a strong first impression of campus culture. Next out, Mount Whitney High School ASB organized senior nights for all winter sports, creating customizable posters and balloon arches to recognize student athletes. Students also preparing for their Love Week this year. They focused on school spirit, connection, and community. Next, at Redwood High School, we hosted the 2026 FBLA Central Section Leadership Conference, earning the Dolores Lowe Sweepstakes title for the 13th consecutive year. We also achieved outstanding college readiness results, including 100% of our seniors receiving at least one college acceptance and $1.4 million in scholarship offers. Next, at Sequoia High School, students are participating in the annual Football Challenge Week, building class spirit and engaging across campus. Next, they also had their first Mountaineers Day of 2026 that will highlight CTE pathways throughout speakers from Visalia Adult School. VCIS has student activities classes celebrating their Kindness and Love Week. They have dress-up days for staff and student and lunchtime with other fun-filled connections throughout the week. On Monday this week, VCIS traveled over to Charter Home School Academy, where they met their current 8th grade students and families who are registering for high school, as many of the charter home students in VUSD will start their high school career at VCIS. It was a great time to connect with students, families, and prepare the students for a high school transition. And lastly, at VTech, they launched their open enrollment on February 1st with strong interest across partner schools. They also promoted their Denim and Diamonds fundraiser that supports student scholarships and essential course materials. And that completes my report for this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate the insight into the student world at the high school level. Number 8, board member reports. And we'll use our traditional pattern here. We'll start off with Mr. Belt.
Thank you, President Odo. First of all, I would like to thank our communications team, headed by Andy DeMeo and Christina Gutierrez. If you haven't noticed that if you wake up one morning and you wonder, is it a foggy day schedule or not, we don't use flags, we don't use strobe lights, we don't use even text messages necessarily. We have a pop-up on the website, and you can't do anything else on the website until you acknowledge, it's a foggy day schedule. Thank you for doing that. It's an easy way to alert everyone. And when I need to figure out my wife is going to have a difficult time driving to school, I can see it right there, and I can know if the buses are going to be running on time or not. So good move that I wanted to highlight. The ongoing excellence that we are looking for throughout our district. was put on display by Golden West National Honor Society induction that I attended. And thank you so much, Alex Gluckman, who's the advisor there, and of course, Principal Lambert. They had the largest group inducted into the National Honor Society that they've ever had. And actually, we were able to hold it at VCIS, multi-use building. Some call it the Hershey Kiss. It's useful, versatile, and another venue that we can make use of throughout our district. The Ed Foundation, I want to remind everyone, their roundup, that's their annual fundraiser, is coming March 21st. So if you want to get tickets, or at least mark it on your calendar, because it's going to be here very, very shortly. Friday night was one of the most outstanding nights I've ever seen at Golden West High School. And I actually have not as long as some of our board members, but a 28-year history with Golden West. And the naming of the gym for the Drew Hall Family Court. It's absolutely amazing night. Well done. And John DeLong and Principal Lambert and the team did a great job of honoring the Hall family. I saw cousins like, of course, Principal. I'm going to get choked up. Snelling, the scorekeeper, who's always there, was also part of that family. One of the most poignant parts of the evening was the dance team, Illusions from Golden West. And if you haven't seen it, it's on my Facebook. It's had over 3,000 views thus far in just a few days. It said it all. It said it all about honoring a life and love for a family. And Golden West community is stronger for that activity. And it's good to see Dr. Villegas was also able to attend. The Ivanhoe Community School advisory meeting that I attended also showed me another insight as to where those monies are going. I don't know if you're familiar with the community schools grants, but the Ivanhoe Advisory Committee is very, very active. They are they're taking a room and turning it into a family resource center. A center that actually already has been given $5,000 worth of jackets, clothing, personal items from a very unusual source, a group called the Medical Billing Trades. It's an association who were looking to invest and give back to the community, and they've adopted Ivanhoe Elementary School. But with the community schools grants, they are going to turn this small room into a family resource center. They're in the midst of naming it, so it's not just called the Family Resource Center. But this committee of local community members and volunteers are pulling their thoughts together, their energies together to make something pretty special for the Ivanhoe community. And I was very thrilled to see that moving forward. I have to say that Saturday night, attending Anastasia at Redwood High School was probably the finest musical I've seen Redwood do. I'm not trying to, what's the word? No, I'm not trying to get kudos with Dr. Gridiron or any. It just was an excellent musical. If you didn't see it, I am sorry you missed it. I did post a video, and then was reminded that there was copyright issues, so that song is no longer to be found. Except you want to come and look at it on my computer or my phone. The last thing that I wanted to mention is, as much as we can, we want you to know that our community, our administrators, our principals, our teachers endeavor to make every student safe every day. And in the last few days, I have fielded a lot of questions about what's going on at Visalia Unified? And I want to make it very, very clear. I'm going to go out on a limb. My colleagues are all getting nervous because sometimes Paul says too much. But I want it to be very, very understood that what might be viewed as not coming forth with all the information that you may need about rumors of this or that nature of former staff people or incidences that happen at school are for a reason. None of us should ever face public scrutiny if we've not done anything. And so there are laws, there are personnel issues, confidentiality that we follow. And we do that as a community. We say, we're not going to just post it on social media so that the trial, the judge, and the executioner can all be just vetted out by whoever wants to type faster than somebody else. No, Visalia Unified will always and has always acted swiftly to make sure every one of your students, every one of our students are safe every day. And so know that when there's an investigation or there are steps, there are hoops to be jumped through, it's not to do anything but to make it very clear. And we want to get to truth, and we want to make sure if people are held accountable, but it's always going to be done because our students are going to be safe. And so just know that. We will always fault at making every student as safe as possible. And it's always going to be done quickly, but it's going to be done correctly. So thank you to our Human Relations Department who endeavors to do that. Ben Dillon, who's carrying with his son tonight, Dr. Burgess and staff who do an astounding job of making sure that when things are happening, when bad decisions are made, the follow-up is very clear and concise and thoroughly done. And so you can rest assured there's nothing being covered up, as social media likes to pretend. No, it's going to be done correctly. So thank you so much, staff, for making sure our kids are safe.
Okay. Mr. DeYoung.
Thank you, President Odo. I have to ditto Trustee Paul Belt's report because there's a lot of good things in there that I was going to touch on, and I think you did a great job on that. So with that, I'll kind of focus more on some site visits that I'm a little behind on reporting out on, so I want to make sure I do my due diligence on that. Some being old, some being new, but I'd just like to say I was able to visit Riverway Elementary and was able to walk around with Principal Heather Jorgensen. And it was my first time visiting the school. It was great to see the very small class sizes. And it's always good to talk with students and, of all people, giving feedback on the curriculum like letters. And, of course, seeing lots of foundations in action. And if you're a parent of the district and you have a little kiddo, you probably know what the worm line and skyline and grass line is and all that kind of stuff. If you don't, ask your kiddo or ask somebody else's kiddo and they'll tell you. My next visit I'm behind on reporting out on is Royal Oaks Elementary, going with Principal Amanda Cooper, a former Denton alum. We got to see some great use of math in PE, which is always great to incorporate those aspects into physical education. Someone like myself who is more a physical learner, visual learner, those were great things to see. And then, of course, we got to see the library that was remodeled, which is always a special place to be. And it looked great, wide and open, happy to come back, visit again. One of my more recent visits was Willow Glen Elementary with Principal Sandra Ochoa. And to touch on what Trustee Randy Vegas talked about with the dual language immersion program. So they have one there that seems like it's blowing up. I was able to visit while they had an open house with parents, and we walked around to the different classrooms and went through the program. And there was a huge interest in that. And there was a lot of great feedback from parents talking, which we just kind of like to sit by and listen. But also hopefully we can expand that program. So I, for one, will be happy to hear how that progresses in the future. Next visit was Washington Elementary with Principal Brittany Guerrero. We talked a lot about data-driven instruction, which you think, and maybe this is just my cognitive bias here, but you would think that would be something that is focused on in education, but it's not always. But her team over there, they're using their PLCs, which is their professional development time for teachers, to dig into that data and really understand it. Because like we've heard before, our teachers, from what I'm being told, have a lot on their plate. And so giving them the time to do what they need to do so that they can help these kiddos read and then do math is what we always need to be doing. And so it's great to hear those things, because on top of that, we're hearing really good things about their math and reading and math scores going up, which is probably contributed to that. So who would have thunk? Last on the list is VTech, our Visalia Technical Early College, with Principal Scott Braun, which I was able to attend today. Going back, talking about dual enrollment, I think I got that mixed up, right, Randy? You were talking about dual enrollment. I always get those mixed up. Okay, so dual enrollment, talking about that, there was, I remember last year, there were several students, one having 3 associate's degrees, and multiple having 2, and a lot having just 1. And I just imagined to myself, like, what's a better, getting ahead on your future college dreams by, starting off with an associate's degree right out of high school. That's, phenomenal. Just get right in it. That is something that I never even imagined myself as a student. And these kids are just like, I ask them, like, how hard was it? And it's like, no, it wasn't very hard. Well, it's like, well, wow, that's pretty amazing. Those are the types of opportunities that we should have available, because something like that, as a student for myself, I could have taken advantage of that, and who knows where I would be. Maybe I want to be a board member. So dual enrollment, don't get those mixed up. Great. We went around. One of the first places we went to, they were doing math, and they were plotting numbers on the number line and solving equations. And students were working on the whiteboards, and we probably spent 20, 25 minutes in there at least, actually helping the kids solve the equations. There's a couple having a little difficulties, and it was really interesting because the students were they were really excited to try to figure it out, even though a couple of them were struggling, which is great to see, because I never had that type of mentality. I would just be like, well, why do I need to do this? I don't understand it. But these kids had the motivation to figure it out, and they weren't getting frustrated or upset or anything. They were genuinely wanting to know how to do it. And, ultimately that's why we stuck around so long, because it was really great to watch and see that kind of commitment from our youth. And so that was most of the visit. But we were also able to go to the shop and see a really cool robotic welding arm that they have in there. That is also something that you don't see every day, that students have to work their way up to be able to use. We weren't able to see it in action, but that is a phenomenal thing to have available, because those sort of things is what we're going to be doing with in the future. All this talk about robotics and AI, get on it and get on it soon. And I can't believe I missed my visit to Redwood. I skipped that. I apologize, Dr. Gridiron, if you're in the room. We had that visit with Redwood High School with Dr. Todd Odo as well. And, speaking of which, about future technologies, we had a great conversation about modern day technology as it relates to crop sciences and monitoring, which is huge, because nowadays, especially crops, we're the Central Valley. We literally feed the world, which I think a lot of people forget. Like, we literally are feeding a third of the world, and we're right in the middle of it. Like, that's how important what we do here is. The sciences and monitoring is literally down to the individual crop, and using AI drones to monitor crops and be able to tell by minor differences whether one plant or tree is struggling versus the other, and how to look at data and all that sort of thing. And so we kind of got into the aspects of how students have to know more than just hands-on learning. They have to wear multiple hats. They have to have an IT background and electrical background. And they have to also have, again, the crop sciences. And so it's multifaceted. And it was a great talk about how do we get to that point? Do you have any suggestions? Where should we look, sort of thing? And being someone with an IT background who used to be an automotive mechanic, it was a simple switch to me because not in automotive technology, as they call it, cars nowadays can have upwards of 150 modules in them that are essentially small computers. And so you have this massive network in your car that's miniaturized that you have to diagnose. And so that was an easy thing for me to go into IT because it was work I was already doing. And with my construction background, having that background in electricity, understanding the principles of it, and then applying that to electronics made it simple. And so I think of those types of things for our students now, which would be phenomenal if they could get, because all those things, like for myself, I researched and learned on my own for the most part. So again, it's all about giving opportunities and making the most availability for these kiddos to figure out what they want to do and what they love. But I'll end lastly on this because Trustee Belt did a great job touching on a couple other subjects, which I won't go over. But last year, Redwood had Little Mermaid, and that was a pretty phenomenal performance. I unfortunately missed Anastasia, which I was really upset about. My girls were upset about. But I'll just have to take your word for it because the Little Mermaid performance last year blew me away. So, but yeah, with that, I conclude my report. So thank you.
Okay, Board Member Gaby.
Thank you. Just real quick, I want to just go back to Superintendent Schramm's report and Mrs. Phillips' report and just kind of, again, just say how much, our students, us as a board, all of us appreciate all of the enrichment activities that are being planned for our students. And really, I think what Mrs. Phillips said there about it's not just like random acts of opportunity. It's this systematic that if I start in something in elementary and I get hooked, I can continue and see that through. And, and that these experiences are right after school for, parents that can't always transport their kid, pick them up and transport them somewhere else. And just how much that also impacts our just general education program. We know that we build language through like these experiences and interactions with our peers and colleagues. I mean, there's just not enough good things I can say about that. So thank you very much for all of our work on that. And if you aren't familiar with IB pathways, that's a really big darn deal, to use one of Todd's lines. And it's a difficult process. So appreciate in advance all the work that's going to go into that. So just thank you for that. And I don't know, I do miss the days where you watched Channel 18 for the foggy day and you waited for Visalia. And if it had just gone through, you had to wait for the end of the alphabet. So I don't know. It's kind of the good old days.
Board Member Villegas.
Thank you, President Odo. Just another, deep sign of appreciation for all of our bus drivers, but also all of our parents and staff as we've navigated the fog these past few weeks. Also want to give a huge thank you to our staff. I know several of our students at several of our sites last week expressed their First Amendment rights and expressing their concerns over immigration, raids going on across the country. So I want to thank all of our staff for making sure that our students were able to do so safely. And with that being said, I also wanted to, raise concerns that I've been hearing in the community about whether our district is doing enough to provide Know Your Rights information to all of our students and all of our families. I know that we have partnered in the past with several organizations like the UFW Foundation to provide workshops at our Community Resource Center. And I would ask to see, if we have moved forward with potentially offering these workshops directly at our sites where our families feel most connected. But I think especially in this moment, it's important to do anything and everything we can to inform our students, our family, and our community members about their rights. And so would love to have a report back from staff next meeting about where we are and what potential steps we could take to support our families during this time. Thank you.
Okay. Board Member Gamoyan.
I just want to kind of follow up on Board Member DeYoung. Everywhere I go, I see good teaching, high rigor, raised standards. And that's why I'm also very excited about this IB pathway. All of our kids can succeed. And I know it's going to be a lot of work to get that off the ground, and I thank you for that. This last week, I think I went to a VPI meeting at El Diamante, and as VPI is at each high school, they are showing the pathways at that high school, and then the kids gave us tours of the classes in those pathways. And I really appreciate that I saw so many community partners in there. I haven't seen that in a while, so that was really good. Friday, I was in Sacramento. I'm on the legislative committee for CSBA, and one of the hot topics, so I'm kind of informing the board here too, was getting our money. Right now, we get our money through average daily attendance. There's a push to change that to enrollment. So however many kids enroll, whether they come to school or not, doesn't matter. You get money for them. The problem with that is schools that are very, very large and don't have an incentive to get their kids to school, because kids have to be at school to learn, they will suck most of the money. So I looked at our attendance. Our attendance is going up, our ADA. In order to do enrollment, the state would have to add $6 billion to the LCAP. I don't know where they're going to get that money. So that's an ongoing conversation. I found, being at the state level, there are many schools that are not in favor of receiving money through ADA. So I'll just keep you informed on that.
So to piggyback on Ms. Gamoyan's comments there, historically in Visalia Unified, we've had exceptionally strong attendance, like 96, 97%. COVID, goofed that a bit, but we've always had super attendance, in part because the schools do a good job getting kids to come to school, but because the community values kids going to school. Those two things work together. So I hope we were able to do whatever needs to be done to maintain our advantage there. On a more mundane note, but a great note, I visited a couple schools over the last month. I finally got a chance to go to Golden West. Thank you, Mr. Lambert, for the visit there. I got a chance to look in depth at English 1 and Math 1 and saw some of the focused work being done at that level. That was good work. I had a chance to go to Redwood, kind of coming home again there, and got a chance to go a little deeper into CT, Career Technical Education, at that school, and saw some good, interesting things going on there. And we've heard evidence of that through the FBLA and through some of the other things that are happening there. So thank you to Dr. Gridiron for that. Saw two musicals, and two different kinds of musicals, both really excellent in their own way. Mount Whitney High School's musical was Beetlejuice. And Mount Whitney's not had a musical for long. They don't have a super deep culture with that. This was a musical that involved the middle school and high school kids together, and the talent that was visible there was really super. The two strongest voices were two middle school girls. The high school kids did a great job with their performances too. The program is building and going places. I look forward to what will come there. And then to piggyback on Mr. Belt's comment, Anastasia was a fantastic show at Redwood. It looked good, sounded good, it was fun and interesting and different. Sometimes we do the same plays over and over again, or musicals over and over again, but this was different. And it may not have been the best, but it was very, very good. The best probably was West Side Story, or maybe Thoroughly Modern Millie. Putting my 2 votes in there, Mr. B. And on a final note, a thank you to the board at our last study session for engaging in the board self-evaluation survey. Thanks, guys. It came out late. We had to push hard to get it done. We had a small conversation around it at that work session, and I look forward to mining that document for possible topics for conversation among the 7 board members here for the future. The survey really showed that there are lots of things that we agree on. We're a pretty high-functioning board. We are a very high-functioning board in lots of good ways there, but there's always stuff you can work on, and I look forward to continuing the work on that as well. Thank you. Mr. Schrum?
Thank you. No additional report tonight.
So moving forward into item 10, administrative panel recommendations. Do I have a motion to approve the recommended expulsions?
All motion.
Okay, motion by Board Member Gaby.
I'll second.
Second by Board Member DeYoung. Call for the vote.
Student board member abstains. Motion passes 6-1 absent.
Okay, 10.2, recommended suspended expulsions. May I have a motion to approve the recommended suspended expulsions?
All motion.
Okay, motion by Board Member Gaby. I will second. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member abstains. 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, moving on into the general agenda. 11.1, adoption of instructional materials for high school civics first read. Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, Breanne Phillips, is our presenter.
All right, good evening again. Tonight I am bringing to you our instructional materials adoption first read for civics. As always, we believe that all of our students can achieve at high levels and demonstrate continuous growth. The materials I present this evening are grounded in our mission, every student learning every day, and our vision, every student empowered to achieve future success. So as we know within our blueprint, we need high quality instructional materials to bring our actions to life within our instructional, within our strategic plan. So tonight, we only have one new curriculum to bring to you, which is our civics curriculum, which we engaged with an adoption committee throughout the summer and the fall in order to land us here with a decision and recommendation. We show this slide every time to ground us in our pilot process, which is very thorough, taking us all the way from a request for quote or product from our from companies through a rigorous paper screen all the way through a pilot with each of our programs that we're looking at. This is specific to our civics adoption. So you can see that our civics adoption began in June when we developed our district lens and we sent out for submissions of different programs to look at. We moved on in August to our pre-screening process where our committee developed guiding statements and rubrics to look through the different programs that came our way, which then went to our paper screening process. And in our paper screening process, the committee used their rubric and researched and reached consensus to only pilot one program. And that pilot ran from October through November. And that brings us to tonight for our recommendation. The program that our teachers piloted and have brought towards recommendations is Savas Magruder's American Government Interactive. This actually is the current print edition of the text that was formally adopted. Our teachers felt that this new program will keep us current with election cycles, headlines, and within each passing year. The key features within this include connections to today, ListenWise current events, Project Image, which is a digital resource that uses immersive experiences and diverse primary sources to tell stories of ordinary people from the past, as well as Quest inquiries, where there is inquiry in every topic through project-based learning, civic discussion, and document-based questions. Within any adoption, we like to engage our students as well. So here you can see in our student survey data that was obtained at the end of the pilot, over 90% of our students responded that the articles, visuals, videos, and primary sources within Savas Magruder's American Government Interactive 2023 materials add to their understanding. And approximately 80% of our students surveyed agreed that the questions, prompts, and discussions challenge them and help them form their own opinions and views of civic-related content. From our teachers, they shared that the materials covered the standards well and the content aligns with the California History Social Science Framework. The guiding questions and infographics are good. The organizational tools and display complex relationships as well. The accompanying resources provide for critical thinking opportunities, and the materials include our 2024 election cycle, and the online platform integrates with our current learning management system of Schoology. So we are moving forward with a recommendation of a 7-year adoption of this textbook. So what this includes is 2,200 student digital licenses, 840 student print editions, which equates to 40 copies per teacher. Also, 840 consumable primary source reading guides, which equates to 40 per teacher, 21 print and digital editions, as well as professional learning and ongoing support for the full full 7 years. The total cost is $415,000, $415,227.33. This is not an action item. This is a first read only.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item? Nope. Any board member discussion? Mr. Belt.
I have one question, Mrs. Phillips. So it's apparently this is designed, even though it was published in 23, to continually be updated. That's why they included the 24 cycle
Correct.
and will again subsequently over the
Yes,
next.
with their digital resources now, they're able to update, and so that's why we have digital licenses. While we do get hard copies for our class sets, through the digital age now, we're able to get ongoing
Yeah,
updates.
so it's tremendous. It gets updated as we go. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Any other board discussion? Okay, this is a non-action item, so thank you much, Ms. Phillips. 11.2, modification of Visalia Unified School District salary schedules effective July 1, 2025. Our presenter is Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez.
Good evening, President Odo, members of the board, and Superintendent Shrum. So this item is an action item tonight to approve the modification of salary schedules retroactive to July 1st, 2025. This is for our classified salary schedules, our certificated management, and our classified management. This is a routine mid-year update to these schedules, positions, to ensure that our positions are accurately reflected and the district remains in compliance with retirement system requirements of publicly available salary schedules. The updates align the certificated management, classified management, and classified salary schedules with current district positions and do not result in any financial impact, and there is no change to the salaries on any of the schedules.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item? Board member discussion? Okey dokey. May I have a motion to approve the modification of Visalia Unified School District salary schedules effective July 1, 2025?
I'll motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Gaby, second by
I'll second.
Ms. Gamoyen. Seconds. Please call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes. 6 yes, 1 absent.
Thank you. 11.3, California School Employees Association, CSEA, Chapter 83, Interest and Initial Proposal for Classified Negotiations. First read. Our presenter to start off with is Administrative Human Resource Development, Judy Burgess, who will hand it off to.
And I will hand it off to our president, Chelsea Chavez Gonzalez.
Good evening, President Odo, Superintendent Shrum, and members of the board, and members of our school community. Many of you know me, and for those who do not, my name is Chelsea Chavez Gonzalez, and I proudly serve as the chapter president for CACA Chapter 83, representing the classified professionals of this district. Tonight, on behalf of our members and those who are present, may you please stand up. Any CACA classified support staff. Thank you very much. You may be seated. I am formally presenting CACA's Sunshine Proposal to open negotiations for 2026-2027 contract. Our classified staff are the backbone of the district, from keeping our campuses safe and clean to transporting students, preparing meals, supporting instruction, maintaining facilities, care and aid of our nurses on our campuses, and providing essential clerical and technical services. Our members ensure that our schools operate efficiently and that students have the support they need to succeed every single day. The purpose of this proposal is to ensure that our contract reflects the value of the work our members perform, supports recruitment and retention, and promotes stability within our workforce. We are committed to engaging in good faith negotiations that are collaborative, respectful, and focused on solutions that benefit both our employees and the students we serve. We look forward to a productive bargaining process and to working together toward an agreement that recognizes the vital contributions of our classified staff to this district. The initial proposal. The California School Employees Association and its Visalia Chapter 83 present their initial proposals for the 26-27 reopen negotiations under the provisions of the current bargaining agreement. It is CSEA's intent to alter or amend the following articles as indicated and present our proposals for public discussion in accordance with Government Code 3547. Article 8, Promotions. CSEA proposes modifications to enhance the promotion selection process. Article 10, Employee Benefits. CSEA proposes increasing the district's contribution to employee benefits to cover any increases and maintain the current benefit standard for all our unit members. Article 13, Salary. CSEA proposes to enhance the salary schedule to provide an equitable wage increase to help maintain the integrity of the salary schedule and an acceptable standard of living for all employees. Article 15, Leaves. CSEA proposes to update, modify language for jury duty and personal necessity. All our provisions of the collective bargaining agreement are in force to June 30th, 2027, shall remain in full force and effect. CSEA reserves the right to make any additional proposals at any time during the bargaining process, including but not limited to the response to proposals made by the district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Chavez. Is there any public comment on this item? Board member discussion? Okay, this is an information item only, no action required. Now it's bookcase piece 11.4, Visalia Unified School District Interest Initial Proposal for Classified Negotiations First Read. Dr. Burgess.
Good evening, Board President Odo, members of the board, Superintendent Shrum. The district approaches the coming negotiations with California School Employees Association Chapter 83 with the intent to negotiate a mutually agreeable contract through collaborative and objective bargaining in order to address common interest and alignment with the district's vision, mission, and goals. The district's interests are ensuring all students achieve at high levels and demonstrate continuous growth, providing learning environments that are safe, supportive, and innovative, supporting employee success and equipping them with the tools necessary for achievement and growth, maintaining district reserves to preserve the instructional program for all students during economic cycles, and again, engaging in an open and honest exchange of information through collaborative and objective bargaining with California School Employees Association Chapter 83. The district has an interest in opening the following articles for 26-27 contract negotiations. Article 7, Transfers. To review, update transfer procedures to ensure optimal staffing levels and operational efficiency across all district sites. Article 17, which is safety conditions, and to ensure language reflects current safety protocols, environmental standards, and the shared commitment to a secure working and learning environment. Both parties do agree with mutually agreed upon articles, Article 10, employee benefits, and Article 13, which is salary. And the district looks forward to good faith negotiations with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 83, in which both parties acknowledge their commitment to provide an exemplary educational program to the students and community we serve.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Burgess. Any public comment on this item? Board discussion? Seeing none, thank you much. This is a non-action item. Okay, 11.5, 2024-25 Annual District Financial Audit. Presenter is Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez and Senior Manager with Crow LLP, Charles Rabley, CPA.
I'm going to be up here for the rest of the night, so I just brought my stuff.
We excuse you.
So we do have a presentation that Mr. Rabley will share, and I'm going to invite him to present the item tonight. But this is for our district's annual financial audit through June 30th, 2025. We also will have a presentation for our Measure A financial and performance audits. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Rabley, and then we'll be here for questions.
Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate everyone's time this evening to talk about the annual external financial audit. I've got a little presentation that we'll go through, and I'm happy to address any questions if you may have those. There we go. So the state requires that you have an annual financial and compliance audit every year in respect of your fiscal year ended. And in this case, we are auditing or did audit the June 30, 2025 year. So I'll go through a little bit of what that entails and the results of that audit, and then address, like I said, any questions you might have. In this case, some of the required communications that we have in respect to the audit are, first, our responsibilities as your auditor. We are aiming to express an opinion over the financial statements as to whether they are fairly stated in all material respects. In addition to that, because you have received and expended federal dollars in excess of $750,000, you are required to undergo what's called a uniform guidance audit, commonly referred to as a federal compliance audit. And also, because you're in the state of California, you have a lot of ed code requirements. We also have a state compliance requirement that you have to follow, state compliance audit that we follow, which has, for the 2025 year, 37 different areas that could be potentially applicable. So how do we go about conducting our audit and our responsibilities? We have to consider what's called risks of material misstatement in your financial statements. So those areas of the financials that might have more susceptibility to having an error in them. And we have, what that means is we focus our audit procedures on those areas of greater risk. We have more audit work that we do over those of higher risk. We also are required to understand and evaluate the internal control structure that you have that produces the financial statements that you have before you in the audit report. We evaluate those areas, and if we have deficiencies or significant deficiencies in internal controls, we are required under the auditing standards to communicate those. And so those two things come together to be what's called a risk-based audit approach. As I mentioned, the more risk areas that you have in your financial statements, the more work we have to do. The table at the bottom of this slide talks about sort of like the timeline of our audit for this year. We have a planning phase that we start out in the first part of the spring. That entails our testing initially of your federal compliance requirements and a lot of the state work. Also do work to test your attendance records and making sure that those are all up to speed. We also then move into the phase 2 component, which is continuing that testing through the end of towards the end of the fiscal year. We come back in the fall to audit the actual full completed fiscal year numbers, your unaudited actuals. And then we complete the compilation of your audit report, which is required again by the state. They give us a prescribed format to conclude the audit report and all the components of it. In this year, we completed that at the end of January of 2026. There were some delays at the federal level in the guide that we were required to follow for the federal compliance audit, and caused some delays throughout the country in completing the federal audit. So that pushed that timeline out a little bit for Visalia Unified this year. We did file that audit report with the State Controller's Office by that extended timeline in compliance with State Controller's Office requirements. And we'll go through that a little more. So I talked about our responsibilities as your auditor. Management is also responsible for the financial statements, and you all, as those charged with governance, are responsible for the financial statements. You're also responsible for the compliance with those state requirements and federal requirements that I mentioned. And then also you're required to establish and maintain control structures that produce these financial statements and then demonstrate your compliance. And also, you are required to comply with and understand whether your government, Visalia Unified, is going to continue as what's called a going concern. No issues there from our perspective, but that's one of those requirements that you have to understand and evaluate whether you're going to continue operating. There were 2 new accounting standards. The Government Accounting Standards Board likes to keep us on our toes. Every year or two, they get us a new standard or component that we have to consider. One related to compensated absences. It was expanding the definition of what is a compensated absences. And in this case, sick leave was not previously recorded as a liability in your full accrual financial statements. Now it's pulled under that umbrella, and an additional liability was recorded for that. The other standard is called certain risk disclosures, and there were no impacts to your financial statements from that new standard being implemented. If there were risks as to the ability for your funding to continue, there would be a disclosure required for that. We don't have any immediate concerns that would require such a disclosure. So, this is also a required communication. If we had any audit adjustments, I know you like to know if we have any material audit adjustments. I'm thankful and proud to say that we had no adjustments that needed to be recorded in your financial statements in order to give our opinion over them. We do have two what are called uncorrected misstatements. These are just differences in the audit that we identified, which were not large enough to require management to change the financials, but large enough for us to highlight it for you all. The first one is related to accounts payable. There were some expenses that were paid out after fiscal year end, which when the invoice came in, it should have been accrued back at the end of June as a payable. The total value was $2.7 million, which is a larger amount, but not large enough to require an adjustment. And that's an extrapolated amount as well, meaning that we estimated based on our sampling what could be wrong in the amounts that were not tested. The other item is what's called a self-insurance allocation of your pension liability. So your self-insurance fund in the unaudited actuals that you report to the state, technically a portion of the PERS and STIRS pension liability should be allocated to that fund. It was not. The total portion, however, that the district represents in the audit report as a whole is appropriately stated. So your portion is accurately stated in the district-wide report. And so there's no again, required adjustment for that. Some other required communications to you all. If we had any differences of opinion with management about how to account for something, or report something, we would let you know that at this time. I would formally. I think if we had a disagreement or a difference, then we would have let you know before this meeting. I'm thankful also to say there's no other adverse events or significant items that we have to elevate for your attention. So. I mentioned the federal compliance audit. Just to quickly highlight, there were 3 programs that we rotated in for testing this year for 25. Your Child Nutrition Cluster, Title II Part A, and Title IV Part B. Those were required to be tested under the uniform guidance, the federal requirements. So the federal government says if it hasn't been tested in the last 2 years, if it's a new program, if you've had other issues identified in the program in the past, we're required to test it. These 3 were identified just because they hadn't been tested in a while, so more than 2 years. And so how did everything shake out? For the financial statements, we gave what's called an unmodified opinion, as well as for we call it a GAGAS compliance audit opinion, which relates to that government, the fact that you're a government. We also have a government opinion that we give, but that relates to your financial statements. And then the uniform guidance, that federal compliance audit. All 3 of those were unmodified or a clean opinion. And that is the highest level of assurance that you can achieve and are looking to achieve out of an external audit. The last item was state compliance, and that you'll see is noted as qualified. We had one finding, which I'll go over in just a minute, related to classroom teacher salaries. There's a form in your unaudited actuals that you file, which identifies whether you've expended a specific percentage of your total expenditures related to teachers' salaries that was under that threshold. Because that's under that threshold, I'm required to include that audit finding in the report. There's no direct fiscal impact related to that deficiency, but it does result in that qualified opinion for state compliance. This page has some highlights as far as comparative between their last 2024 fiscal year and this year. And so you can see sort of the difference in how things shook out for 24 fiscal year and 25. Pretty comparable overall in the grand scheme of things. And so I will note that the last point in this table is that you were in compliance with the reserve requirement that the state has listed out for you as a unified school district of your size. And then you had received a positive certification from the superintendent of schools. And I mentioned the classroom teacher salaries finding. This is sort of laying that out a little more specifically. You had to hit 50.83% of your total expense of education, whereas for a unified school district, the state ed code says it needs to be at least 55. And so we have to include that report, finding in your report. The County Office of Ed, I will note, also provided a waiver for you all in respect of that. All right, so in conclusion, the district's financial statements were fairly stated in all material respects. We had no adjustments that we required of management to post to give our opinion, and there were no audit findings as respect to internal controls or federal compliance, just the one for state compliance this year. And the real reason that we got all that, got to that point of having those unmodified opinions is that management was able to provide us the information that we needed, was on time, and we were able to ultimately complete the audit report by that extended timeline for this fiscal year. So I just wanted to express my appreciation for management for doing that. So, if you have any questions, our contact information is on this slide. This is mine on the right. On the left is Jen Aris, and she is the audit partner with Crow who signed the opinion for the financial statements and state and federal compliance. So I know I went through a lot in a short period of time. It's all dry stuff, perhaps, for those that aren't in the accounting and auditing group, but I'm happy to address any questions or expand on anything.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rabley. Any public comment on this item? Board member comment or questions? You bowled us over. Okay, we always look at the last page first. It's a good report. We appreciate your work. We appreciate the work of staff to get us to that point. We have a long history of that. Thank you. This is a action item. We have to approve this. So may I have a motion to approve the district financial audit?
I so move that we.
Mr. Belt moves.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Gamoyen. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member voting yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay. Takes us to 11.6, 2024-25 Measure A financial and performance audits. Our same two gentlemen back again.
Yes, and so as I mentioned, the Measure A bond does require both a financial and a performance audit, which is looking at how we spent those funds and the projects that were completed. Again, Mr. Rabley is going to share a presentation. This has also been shared with the Bond Oversight Committee prior to coming to the board.
All right, thank you again. It's been a while. I'll talk through a few of the highlights for the financial and performance audits of Measure A. And again, if you have questions, I'm happy to expand on anything or address those. So this again covered the fiscal year June 30, 2025. And again, we gave unmodified opinions. So this is what when we look at Measure A, we are carving out on the financial statements and looking at Measure A as a standalone financial picture, financial entity. And so we're, in our financial audit, we're saying, are the financial statements fairly stated in all material respects? The scope is different than a performance audit, because in a financial audit, we're looking to see, for example, on your balance sheet, does cash exist based on the supporting documentation? Is accounts payable complete? For example, in that general fund item that I mentioned on the district audit. In your income statement, we're looking to see that the expenditures were categorized in the correct classifications based on the California School Accounting Manual, and did they exist, or were those appropriately reported? The performance audit, which again, as I mentioned, was also an unmodified opinion, is looking more for compliance. Were the funds that were expended out of Measure A used for the intended purpose under the project list and under Prop 39, where the bond measure was approved through? So we had no issues with that, but just to clarify the difference in the nature of those two audits and why those are separate documents that the state has asked us to issue our report over. So, and I did have as Nathan mentioned, I had the opportunity to meet with the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee and discuss this last week with them as well. So in conclusion, for Measure A, this fiscal year, you had about 11.9, almost 12 million of expenditures. We tested 7.6 million of those expenditures, which resulted in about 64% coverage of the total value. And then we also had the last issuance of Measure A, which we also tested to make sure that was, again, accounted for correctly and that was presented properly in the financial statements for that final 70 million. And so there was no findings or question costs to report to you this evening. And again, we're able to issue that unmodified opinion because of management's efforts to get us what we need. So I'm happy to address any other questions that you may have, but that is the end of that presentation.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Ravely. Any public comment on this item? Mrs. Lambert.
Good evening, Dr. Otto and board and Mr. Shrum. Nice to see you. I am serving for all of us, for the district, on the Bond Oversight Committee and on the Property and Advisory Committee. I would just like to commend staff for the work they do for these committees. They are organized. They are transparent. Any questions that we have, they answer, and that goes with Nathan and for Steve Pena and for the whole group. It's a pleasure to be on that board, and I would recommend anyone else to be part of this bond oversight. And they always provide us with a great packet of how the money's being spent, where it's being spent, how it affects our students. And I know that with all of you, our goal used to be that the schools, all of our schools need to be the jewels of their community. And through this bond money and the way that it's being multi-funded and the way that they're applying it to the school sites, that's exactly what's happening. If you were able to go to Houston School for the State of the Union and see all of the classrooms and see the before and after, you can see the great work that your staff's doing. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Board member comment? I guess we're there. Some of us worked really hard to make Measure A happen. It's good to hear we have support from community and technical proficiency with making sure that it works right. Thank you. This is an action item. Do I have a motion to approve the 24-25 Measure A financial and performance audit?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Gaby.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Gamoyan. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Moving on, 11.7, public hearing for site suitability for Lowry Ranch site. Okay, CBO Hernandez, back to you.
That's me. Good evening again. And this item is a public hearing for site suitability for Lowry Ranch. So in November, the board received the preliminary environmental assessment, and since then we've received approval from the Department of Toxic Substance Control, DTSC, as well as CDE to move forward with this site as a suitable site for an elementary school. And so we have an item following this, a resolution that would adopt or approve that site for an elementary school, and the first step is a public hearing tonight.
Got it. So to confirm, we have opened a public hearing to allow for public comment on this item. To that end, is there any public comment on this item? Board member discussion? Okay. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and reconvene the regular session. So back to you, Mr. Hernandez. Or is it action time?
It's now we would move on to the
Okay.
next item.
So do I have a motion to approve the public hearing for site suitability for Lowry Ranch site?
Also move.
Mr.
Yes.
Belt first, second by,
I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry. So that item was the public hearing. The next item is the resolution.
okay, got it. Okay, so now we're there.
Now you can, if we move on to the next item. then
Got
we
it.
can- yes.
So can I second the adoption of resolution
Does that
to
look right?
purchase Lowry Ranch?
I guess you can. Yeah, it's a different item, right?
8.
We're on 11.8, so we've moved there. Got it. That was really weirdly set up. Okay. We're on 11.8. Okay. So now we have a motion
So,
to.
yeah, maybe take a new motion on
Yeah,
11.8.
there we go. May I have a new motion, because I fumbled the last one, to approve the adoption of the resolution to purchase Lowry Ranch, correct?
New motion to purchase the property on Lowry Ranch.
Mr. Belt,
And I will second that motion to purchase Lowry Ranch.
Ms. Gaby, call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member voting yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Got it. So just to confirm, legal counsel, there was no need to approve the public hearing. The public hearing is a public hearing.
That's correct. And I just want to clarify, the motion was to adopt the resolution, right?
To adopt the resolution.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay. Drawing a line, 11.9, approval for long-range facilities master plan long-term planning. Back to you, Mr. Hernandez.
Okay, this time I have a PowerPoint for you. Okay. We good? All right. Good evening, President Odo, members of the board, and Superintendent Schramm. So tonight we're requesting approval of the next phase of our long-term facilities planning. So we've, over the last 2+ years, we've been on a journey of assessing our facilities, having community meetings, community workshops, and really getting input on our planning for both short-term and long-term. And in last December, December 2024, the board approved the short-term plan, which included building an elementary school, some boundary adjustments, and some changes at elementary school. The long-term planning of this next phase is really around our secondary, and our board beliefs and commitments is that our learning environments should be safe, supportive, and innovative, and that's what our facilities planning helps us to achieve. So we started with our guiding principles, and really it was about balancing enrollment across schools and aligning that enrollment to the capacity, so making sure we're fully utilizing our schools, addressing growth that we still have in the community, particularly in the Northwest and the Southeast. And then, my favorite being fiscally responsible, ensuring that where we are investing our funds, including our Measure A funds, that aligns to what the true needs are of the district as we move forward. So we've gone out to community, conducted workshops. We've had over 29,000 visits to our webpage, over 11,000 ratings, over 2,000 survey contributors. And so we've received feedback, and I think over 200 folks attended community workshops over the last 2 years as part of this process. And as I mentioned, the long-term phase really addresses secondary. When we look at the concerns that we're trying to address, we address some of the elementary concerns with that first phase of approvals. And now we're looking at middle school and high school. So middle school, we're seeing in the Northwest with development, some disparity between enrollments between Ridgeview and La Jolla, which we'll share in a couple of slides. And then the obvious issue that we know at high school with our balancing of enrollment between our two schools that are in downtown Visalia, Redwood, and Mount Whitney. As we've gone out to the community, we've shared the enrollment projections and our 10-year projection. And what we see here in this chart, the blue at the top is our high school enrollment. And the middle green is middle school, and the bottom orange is our elementary school enrollment. And if we go out to 10 years, we can see our enrollment in high school is projected to decline by about 900 students. Overall, the district declines by about 900 students as well. For our elementary schools, even though we do have some decline in our enrollment, we've had programs that have been added. When we think about TK, a full grade level has been added to our elementary schools. And through Proposition 28, additional programming for visual and performing arts, as well as expanded learning. And in our short-term plan, we're addressing elementary schools by building a new elementary school. In the long-term planning, our recommendation is to continue to watch the development that's happening in the Northwest and the Southeast. And as we see that development happening, address growth through either boundary adjustments or potentially another school. Likely the Southeast is where we will need to make those adjustments. So in this phase of planning, we don't have a recommendation that we're bringing forward for elementary school other than we're continuing to monitor. For middle schools, when we look there towards the middle, the 2031-32 enrollment projections, we see a disparity between La Jolla and Ridgeview, with Ridgeview continuing with their growth in the Northwest to grow to over 900 students. And what we're recommending for our middle schools is that we construct classrooms at La Jolla and adjust boundaries so that the La Jolla boundary would increase, and we would remove students from the Ridgeview boundary and make that shift from between Ridgeview and La Jolla. The cost for that is about $8 million to do construction at La Jolla so that we have the capacity at that site. For high school, we know that our Measure A bonds included a significant investment for high school. And when we look at the enrollment projections for high school, the blue bars there on the left of each of those years show what the high school enrollment projection was from 2018. And the orange bars show the actual high school enrollment and the projection going out to 2034, 35. I can't see that far. There on the far right. And so when we see what that projection was back in 2018, and we had included in that potential bond project list a new high school, the difference between the peak of enrollment in 2018 versus what we're seeing in the 10-year projection is about 1,500 students. And so we're not going to show in this long-range plan a new high school as part of that recommendation. But we do still need to address overcrowding at our high schools. We do still have lots of portable classrooms at our high schools, and we still have the funds from Measure A available to address that. So the recommendation is to build new classrooms at our high schools and pull off the temporary classrooms. 26 classrooms would be built. Adjust boundaries to balance enrollment between the 4 schools. And then advanced academic programming and facility improvements at Mount Whitney High School. So we have an item after this item to approve an agreement for an architect that would start some of that process and planning once this item is set to be approved or voted on by the board. The total cost of the high school solutions, about $46 million. We'll have additional cost for the facility enhancements at Mount Whitney once we start that design process and work with the school site and the community on what that facility would look like. So this is our plan on a page for this phase of planning. You see the middle school construction there at La Jolla, the high school classrooms that would be built, and then an unknown cost yet for the Mount Whitney improvement projects. The current funds that we have on hand as of June 30th, about $140 million from developer fees, from our state matching funds that we've received from projects that have been completed, and then our Measure A fund, our largest funding source, makes up about $140 million. With projects that we have in line from previously approved, as well as Measure A modernizations, we've got about $113 million remaining. And then with these projects that we're bringing tonight, we have about $59 million remaining. Once we put in the cost of the Mount Whitney enhancements and other modernization projects that we have moving forward, we anticipate that within the next 12 to 18 months, all of these funds will be encumbered for those projects. So our next steps, if we get approval tonight, we will bring architect agreements over the next couple of months. In the summer, late fall, we'll be starting to look at potential boundaries for the schools, the high school and middle schools, and then we'll start community outreach late in the fall this year. And then we'll turn to our next phase of long-range planning and what we expect to see and want to see out of our schools for the future. Again, knowing that these projects will pretty much use the funding that we have available. We'll be continuing that process of looking at the funding sources moving forward. And with that, we're here for questions.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item? Board member comment. Wow, none? Okay, so here's what I think I took away from this, Nathan. The stuff that you talked about here for elementary, middle, and high school can be covered under funds that are available currently to the district through Measure A, developer fees, things like that.
Correct.
Right.
That's correct.
When you did the roadshow with this in the community over the past couple of months, there was an additional page that showed over the next 15, this is like a 3 to 5 year kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Over the next 15 years or so beyond that, we need money to maintain and modernize the 40 plus school facilities, not just facilities, here in the district to keep them useful at a level that we need for the kids in the community. That number was, I think, in the $100 million
182 million.
Yeah, so 82, by the time Steve leaves here tonight, it's going to be 100 million. By the time I get to my car, it's 110. It's going to go up a ton. So what you're going to bring to us in the near future is a sense for how we will get to that level of investment by the community in the school district to maintain what we have deeper, longer term. Okay, because the story that we need to walk away from isn't the district has enough money to do what's needed. I can stop thinking about this. It's we have the money to do what we need to do in the very shortest of terms to make sure that kids in the near future have what they need to be successful in school. But we need to immediately, because we're late doing it, and we've been late for years and years and years in the district, to plan for the future in a significant long-term way, in a strategic way, money-wise, to get schools where they need to be. We need to find lots of money, and it can't come from the state through regular pipelines. It's above and beyond the money we get to run schools on an annual basis.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the takeaway. All right, so you need an approval here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Dr. Odo?
Yes.
If I can make one more comment too. We discussed this pretty well at our work session, but it bears to be explained again. As the community looks at, wow, you have all this money sitting there, they also need to realize it is earmarked only for facilities. You cannot put it in salaries. You cannot build another library. Well, I guess you could, a facility, but you can't buy more books. You can't put it into retirement funds or medical benefits or anything like that. It's not like we have this enormous wallet. It's reserved monies that can, or restricted, I can get the CPA terms right, the restricted monies that can only be used for what we're looking at, buildings and facilities.
That's correct. The gentleman that just left before, if we did any of those things, would not have the same opinion as us.
Okay, any further board member comment? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the long-range facilities master plan, long-term planning?
Yes, I so move that we approve
Mr. Belt
this.
first, second by?
I'll second.
By Ms. Gaby. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, moves us to 11.10, Mount Whitney High School Pre-Design Services Agreement. Mr. Hernandez.
Good evening again. Yes, as I shared, this pre-design services agreement is with Mangini and Associates, and it would be to provide pre-design services, architectural services for Mount Whitney High School. It would involve meeting with the staff in that community to determine the needs of the site and would then result in bringing forward an architectural agreement once those plans are in motion. So we are requesting approval of this item.
Public comment on this item? Board member comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Mount Whitney High School Pre-Design Services Agreement.
I'll motion.
Okay, Mr. DeYoung first, seconded by? I'll do it, second. Call for the motion.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, thank you.
Did I do something wrong?
5.
Yeah, one absent. One out of room. Yep.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. So it was 5 yes, 2 absent. Sorry.
You can join me in the penalty box later. Okay. 11.11, Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP, mid-year update. Mr. Hernandez.
Something completely different. So tonight, we're presenting our LCAP mid-year review for the 25-26 school year. And so this required update gives the board visibility into how LCAP goals, actions, and services are being implemented, how funds are being expended, and where we see progress and challenges at this point in the year. We'll walk through each of our LCAP goals, share the mid-year spending progress, highlight implementation and reflections, and then close with the next steps in the LCAP process. So I just wanted to remind the board that the LCAP is not a separate plan. It is aligned, and as we go through and look at the different goals and actions within the LCAP, it's aligned to both our strategic plan as well as our board's beliefs and commitments. So our LCAP goals, and these are our ABCs because we figured ABC would be easier to remember, but it is academic achievement, belonging and safety, and then communication and family engagement. These areas anchor how we allocate our resources, design supports, and measure our progress. So for Goal 1, academic achievement, it focuses on ensuring students advance towards proficiency across subjects and grade levels through instruction, professional development, collaboration, and technology integration. And so what you'll see on each of these slides is the total amount of our LCAP that's allocated to this goal, as well as the progress of spending at this point in the year. So we should expect to see somewhere between 40 and 60% at this time in the year. Some range a little bit lower, and that's because they might have activities that they're conducting at the end of the year to finish out the school year. So the reflection and next steps here is we have several focus areas, increasing reclassification rates and supports for English learners, decreasing the number of students below grade level in reading and math, and then common assessments at all grade levels to monitor student progress. And that's been a highlight for our district office teams, is working on some of those common assessments and working with our schools. For Goal 2, belonging and safety, Goal 2 centers on ensuring students are engaged and prepared for learning through daily academic, behavior, and social emotional supports. This goal area includes attendance supports, behavior services, mental health resources, and school climate investments. And again, see the total allocation and the percentage spent in line with where we would expect at this point in the year. So the reflection on belonging and safety, attendance and engagement strategies are being reinforced at sites with targeted outreach and intervention supports continuing through the remainder of the year. So we have here our chronic absenteeism rate is currently at 19.2%. That has come down over the last several years, high of somewhere in the 30% range, but still above what our pre-COVID chronic absenteeism rate, which was about 9%. So still work to do there. And then, of course, reducing number of suspensions and providing emotional supports for students. For Goal 3, communication and family engagement, our community and families will actively support students in schools through empowerment, effective two-way communication, and collaboration. And you can see a little bit lower there at the 40%, but also fewer expenditures under our Goal 3, communication and family engagement. So a reflection here is our district advisory committee. This is actually a celebration, increased to over 107 participants. It was not as well attended in previous years, and so that was something that we've celebrated. All sites have monthly collaboration with our Family Community Resource Center staff, and then increasing the number of parents completing online registration, which is going to open up here very soon for both our kindergarten as well as students who are coming back to school. For our charter schools, highlighting, again, we heard about VTech and the class receiving AA or the Cal GETC certifications, decreasing the suspension rates. For VCIS, highlighting English learner progress, and then for charter homeschool, increasing that parent involvement in their classrooms. So for our next steps, we're continuing to analyze the input that we're receiving in the LCAP process, effectiveness of their goals and actions, and we'll come back to the board in June with our first read and our second read for adoption of our LCAP plan. And with that, answer any questions.
Okay, any public comment on this item? Board member comment on this item? Seeing none, this is information only item. No action is required. Ready, boss? 11.12, 2026 CSBA Delegate Assembly Election. Mr. Schrum.
Thank you, President Odo. So this is for our board to ratify the ballot for two nominees to be representatives to the CSBA Delegate Assembly, Subregion 12A, Tulare County. One of those being our very own Walter Gamoyan, and the other being Pete Lowry from Porterville. So those are the two that have been nominated, and so now that just has to be ratified by all of the relevant boards of education.
Okay, any public comment on this item? Board member comment on this item? Okay, may I have a motion to vote for the two nominees to be representatives to the CSBA Delegate Assembly, Subregion 12-A, Tulare County?
I'll motion that, can we motion that we put both of our votes towards Walta, or do we have to give one to each?
I don't think we want to make Pete an enemy, so there we go.
All right, all right. We'll
I'll
play nice, and I'll motion to nominate Pete and Walter Gamoyan.
Okay, I'll second that, yes.
Seconded by Mr. Belt. Call for the vote.
I want to say thank you. Motion carries. Student board member voting yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Great, thank you, and thank you, Ms. Gamoyan, for your willingness to do that. We are on the 1 yard line. Warrant list, December 20, 2025, January 30, 2026. I'm going to make a motion to approve the warrant list from December 2025 to January 30, 2026. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. KB seconds. Call for the vote.
Motion carries. The student board member votes yes, 5 yes, 1 abstention, and 1 absent.
Thank you for your patience. This meeting is closed.